What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 50 of 10K on the Bay. Pretty excited, 50 episodes in. Hope you guys are still enjoying the content. Please like and subscribe if you do, and if you don't, please let me know. You guys can reach out to me anytime and let me know what you like or don't like about the channel. And I appreciate all the love so far. Really appreciate everything you guys do, and just want to go over a few things today. I want to go over the 3 ways you guys can increase your profit on eBay. I do believe there's only 3 ways to do it. And I want to go over 3 specific models on how to make 50 grand or 100 grand on eBay. And I want to talk about exactly how difficult it is or how easy it is to get it done. But I think after being in my group for a couple of months, I have a really good idea of what it actually takes to make 50 to 100K. And it might actually surprise you. So I'm going to screen share now so you guys can see what's going on. Okay. Let me go ahead and lower this. What's going on, Debbie? Lisa, Flip Flops All Day, Shazad, Hussein, what's going on? The wedding was awesome in Moab. But I'm going to do the Q&A sort of towards the end. So I want to show you guys quickly and get straight into how to make the 3 ways you can increase your profit, and then also 3 different models that I'm going to try to make the kind of money I'm talking about on eBay. And I'm going to share basically all 3 models as I start actually doing them, so you guys can sort of get an idea of what it's looking like. Please let me know in the chat if you guys can see the screen share. I just want to make sure stuff is going on. What's going on, Abraham? Okay, so today I want to talk about the 3 ways to increase your eBay profits. I do think there's actually only 3 ways to do it. Number 1, and this will be in the description for you guys later if you don't want to watch the video. Basically, the first thing is you can have a faster sell-through rate and do more inventory cycles. So basically, if you sell out every 30 days and then you go through another inventory cycle and you get through more cycles, you'll increase your profits. The second way is to increase your average profit per item. And so you can either sell stuff that's a higher average sale price. Obviously, you can't get more profit without increasing the price generally. And that's why they recommend the easiest way to make more profit is just to increase the number of increase your price, but you might actually reduce your sell-through rate if you do that. So you got to make sure you're doing all 3 of these in your entire business and focusing on them, because it's really the only way to make more money. And the third one is sell a higher number of items. So you can do that either by listing more of what you have, but I think it's better to actually list more of what you sell. As obvious as that sounds, if things are working in your store, list more of that item. Don't just buy items that are cheap. Try to shoot for items that make you more money. So I'm actually going to start with 50K, because this is the point of my group, my Patreon group, which is eBay MBA. I'm actually going to close it shortly to make sure that I can serve people. And I used to have 100 people in it. I'm actually reducing it to 50, so I can actually help people better than just doing 100, because it was way too many people, way too many calls. So I'm reducing it to 50, and it's mostly full. But the first goal is to get to 52,000 net on eBay. So I'm actually going to change this to 52,000, because that's the first goal for everyone in my group. Some people in the group are already doing that, but I just want to go over a couple of different models. So today we're going to go over $10 plus shipping, $30 plus shipping, or $45 plus shipping. Now you guys can do free shipping. So on this first example, let's say we're getting items for 75 cents. So let's just say maybe this is Goodwill, Outlet, garage sales, stuff from your friends. So this is stuff that you're getting for basically $1, right? So you're getting it either at the Goodwill, Outlet, or a garage sale, or stuff from your friends, or stuff around the house, whatever, essentially no cost. Now the listing cost, I put in here as $2. And I want you to leave this in when you're doing your calculations, because even if you're doing the listing yourself, your time still has a cost for money. like your time is still equal to money, especially for yourself. You can't scale yourself because there's only one of you. So basically, I want you to add in a listing cost based on how many you can do per hour and what you would pay for that. So for me, I can do 6 to 10 items per hour. In my area, I have to pay $2 a listing to get someone else to do that, to replace myself. So that I'm building that into the cost. So you're looking at, we're going into the item at, you know, $2-3 a piece. If you're selling it for a $15 average sale price, so this is $10 plus shipping. So you could do $15 free shipping or 10 plus shipping. You're looking at needing roughly 5,000 items in stock. And this is with a 20% sell-through rate. So I originally talked in my videos about getting a 1/3 sell-through rate. That's difficult as you grow your items bigger and bigger. As your store gets larger, it's harder to keep a higher sell-through rate. So I actually lowered that to 20% to give you guys an idea of what it looks like realistically. If you have 5,000 so-so items from garage sales and outlet, you know, we're talking $10 plus shipping, so pretty low-end stuff. You're looking at needing a pretty giant store to get to $4,800 a month, which is basically a full-time income. You're also gonna need $13,000 in inventory value. So that's a lot. So for, you know, the $1,000 or the 1,000 items may have cost you $1,000 in cost and $2,000 of your time. So let's say $3,000. You need $3,000 to get 1,000 so-so items into your eBay store. So the reality is you can't do eBay with no money. It takes a little bit of money to get started. And obviously, the more money you have, the faster you can scale, because this listing cost here, you can actually hire people to do that. And this is a way that you can hack this system. If you want to go faster, you need money to hire listers. I think it's pretty easy to get stuff for 75 cents that's worth $10 plus shipping. After watching a few other haul videos on YouTube, you guys will be able to figure out what to buy for $10 or more. That's not too difficult. But do you guys have the systems and the space and the organization to get the 5,000 of these cheap items? I don't know. I mean, I'm figuring this out right now. My main store, I have about, right now it's down to 1,700 listings, but I have around 800 drafts. So once I get through this week, it's been kind of crazy with this wedding I went to, but I will get to 3,000. And I have a higher sell-through rate than 20%, but I will say that it has definitely slowed down since my store has grown. So I want you guys to be realistic. I want to give you guys a legit idea of what it would cost. So with $3,000, you could basically start making $1,000 a week if you can get all these items listed. Oh, I'm sorry, actually, I did the math wrong on this. It's going to cost you $15,000 to do it. This math is actually off. Holy crap. Who put this together? So inventory value. What is the formula here? Okay, actually, this is what it would cost for you to build this store. I'm totally wrong. So ignore that last information. You need $13,750. This is why I put this inventory value here. I should actually change this to cost. Cost of inventory. So basically, you'd spend $1,000 on the stuff, essentially, or $750 in this example, and then $2,000 listing it to get to the 5,000 items, and that's $13,750 worth of inventory you have listed in order to make $4,800 a month with a 20% sell-through rate. So this is a ton of work to get to 5,000 items. This is why when you listen to other sellers saying how difficult it is to scale like a Goodwill outlet model, well, this is going to show exactly how difficult it is. If you're not an expert in buying clothing, your sell-through rate is probably going to be 20% or lower. I've seen some people's sell-through rates much lower because they're not an expert yet, or they don't live in a metro area with lots of good stuff. So you need $13,750 if you're just going to do the Goodwill outlet. This is if you hire people. If you do the work yourself, then it only requires essentially $5 grand, $1 an item. to get to this level if you did all the listing yourself, but how long and how many months or years would it take you to get to 5,000 items? That's a lot. Okay, so let's move to the $30 plus shipping model. This is a little bit more challenging, but basically we're looking to get the item for $750. This is just an example. Buy for $750, spend $250 listing, and the reason why I put $250 versus $2 is the item's a little bit nicer, so you might want to spend a little bit more time listing it. Yeah, so the sell-through rate is the inventory sell-through monthly. Sell-through rate monthly. Let me adjust that real quick. So on this $30 model, you're buying stuff for $750. Let's say you spend a little bit more time listing it. So you're in at 10, you're selling it for 30, and $5.99 is the shipping cost on each item, and you're left with, let's say, $10 profit. And on these cheaper items that you're selling for 15, including shipping, you're hoping for $4 to $5 profit. Here, you're hoping for $9 to $10 profit. Okay. I am taking into account the PayPal fees. So we have revenue, shipping costs, eBay fees, PayPal, and cost of goods sold for the costs. So you're looking at a 31% margin on this one, 32%. We're hoping for at least 30% margins pre-tax. Okay. So on this $30 plus shipping model, you're looking at needing 16 grand, but you only need 1,600 items in sale with this 1/3 sell-through rate. Now, the reason why I put 1/3 instead of 20% or 30% instead of 20 is because you're hand picking better items with this model. You're going to $750 is a little bit better cost. Here you're looking at potentially closeouts, liquidation, Goodwill, and Salvation Army retail stores. So you're looking at a little bit nicer quality stuff. So it's going to cost a little bit more, up to $750 an item. You're selling it for 30. So buying for 10, essentially selling for 30. You're going to try to get $10 profit. You need a lot less inventory. So you need 1,600 items instead of 5,000 items to do it. This is a little bit more doable for people, in my opinion. If you're a 1 or 2 man show, or woman show, you may actually want to go out and pick higher quality items, try to get your average selling price up to $30. You're basically doubling your profit, but you're spending 3-4 times more to get it. So even though this is 1,600 items, you can see, thanks for stopping by. If you have to go, you can watch this later. Inventory value costs more even though you have less items. So now we're looking at if you're one of those type of people who always says, oh, I want to do less work and make more money. Well, if that's the case, you need a little bit more money up front to get that going. You've got to have a higher inventory value to get your items down to only 1,600 inventory. Now, this final model is the one I actually recommend for people, which is $45 plus shipping. This is the easiest model to get to as far as the reason why I say it's the easiest model to get to is you don't need a high sell-through rate. I've actually put in a 10% sell-through rate here on this $45 shipping model to give you guys an idea that you can still make $52,000 a year with only selling 10% of your items per month. So if you have 2,000 items, you're only selling 200 per month. That's not even 10 items per day to make a full income. And this is something that's really nice. If you're getting that margin of trying to shoot for $20 profit for each one. Yeah, Mickey, this $6 average shipping is the average cost of my shipping. When I sell more expensive items, typically they cost a little bit more to ship. So I put $6 on the $45 model and a $30 model, but I put only $5 for stuff from the bins or garage sales because that may be, most of this stuff is going first class mail or a flat rate envelope. So these are based on my shipping averages. If you were to sell like, receivers or heavy stuff, this is going to be higher, but that's why I put $45 plus shipping. If you guys do calculate it to give you an idea. Okay. So this is actually $51, but on average. So we're looking at only a 10% sell-through rate, and this is significantly easier because you don't need to sell that much. 200 items a month is easy. I mean, there are sellers that ship out 200 items a day. So this is it does require more money. So you can see realistically here, to get 2,000 nice items, you're looking at spending 30 grand. Now, most people do not have $30,000. I think that most people have $600 in their bank account. That's sort of the US average. So 30K is not really accessible for most people, but this is the easiest thing to do. Since these items are a little bit more pricey, I might even say like you're looking for them on Craigslist, OfferUp, garage sales, maybe you're doing eBay to eBay arbitrage. So you're looking for items online that are a little bit more expensive, and you're looking basically to triple up again. As a basic rule, you take $15, triple it for 45. That's what you're sort of going for to try to net this $21 per item. So here we got 20 per item, 10 per item, 5 per item. So different models, different ways to make money. The reality is it's very hard to make $1,000 a week without at least 10 grand. That's the sad reality of eBay. The more money you have, the easier it is. If you're buying these higher end items, and again, I want you guys not to be like disappointed or sad about this if you don't have 10 grand, because it's going to take time to build up this inventory. I have a good friend named Tina who has a channel, Tina the Soul Advisor. He basically, he nets 6 figures on eBay, I believe, and you guys should check him out, Tina the Soul Advisor. But basically, it took him a few years to get 2,000 items in stock. So it takes a while to find this many good quality items, and at that point, you don't need to sell too many to really make the profit that you're looking for. Also, nicer items take a little bit longer to pack, list, and prep. So I put a listing cost of $5 here, that's like 2 to 5 items per month. This might require, let's say you're selling high-end shoes and you want to spend time cleaning them, shining them, maybe fixing the sole, and you can only do 2 to 3 per hour. That's why the listing cost is so much higher. It's based on the time. So that's one way of doing this. To give you an idea, on the Low Key Husky store, which I've been sharing with you guys, so far, we've been in business for April 22nd, not even quite a month yet. So we're looking at the last 31 days, 51.15. Let's look at the orders real quick. 113 orders. So let's see. That's about $45 on average per item. So I'm selling my average right now on this new store. Right? I'm aiming for that sort of lower work, more time. You can see though, I only have 56 items. It's taking, or I'm sorry, 58 items. It's taking a long time to build this up because I'm literally cherry picking these items and looking for them. It's taking a long time to find them. So you can either spend time looking for specific items that are selling right now, or you can do basically buying stuff that's cheap and waiting a little bit longer. Now I'm sort of cheating the system here because I'm buying stuff that has a high average sale price, but the margins are a little bit lower, but they're selling really fast. So you can see here, actually, let me get my phone for you guys. I'm gonna turn off screen share for just a second. Let's see. Hopefully you guys can see me. Let me know if you guys can see me. I'll show you the eBay. Okay, so you guys can see that, I don't know, let me see if I can pull this up. But it looks like, so I have 128 sales really on 58 items sold. So it's like really, it's relatively fast. If you're looking at, so this is 100, see my items sold is actually higher than the items I have listed, which is kind of crazy. And what that means is, and I'm finding out, I'm basically out of time. I'm spending my time researching what's going to sell before I go shopping, and that makes it extremely challenging because I'm spending a lot more time than just buying bulk from somewhere and spending all my time listing, right? It's actually really hard to get above even 100 items when your stuff is selling this fast. So it's a different way of looking at it. I'm doing the research up front. So for example, let's say that obviously iPhones sell really well, right? There's millions of these sold, probably thousands of these sold a day. If you spent all your time looking for iPhones to resell, you're really good and you understood all the different ins and outs of selling cell phones, you would be pretty pressed on time, excuse me, to buy more than 5 items a day, in my opinion. If you're on fire, you can maybe buy 5 iPhones, which would be very, very hard. You have to test them. You have to make sure they weren't stolen. There's a lot of work, tons and tons of work required to get 5 iPhones, right? But if you're trying to get items that sell for $10 plus shipping from the Goodwill outlet, you could find hundreds of them a day, right? You could source just one day a week and go to the Goodwill outlet and buy hundreds and hundreds of items that you can sell for $10 plus shipping. You can watch tons of YouTubers will show you exactly what to buy there, whether it be men's clothing, women's clothing. Also, the same thing applies to garage sales, and it's actually much easier, in my opinion, to buy clothes at garage sales because they're the hardest to move. As you guys know, even with eBay, and we have millions of shoppers, it still takes a while to sell clothing. So imagine a garage sale where there's only 20 to 50 people who show up on a whole weekend, how slow your clothing is going to sell, right? So you can definitely get clothing items for $1 and try to sell them for $15, including shipping. You can build a giant business on just that, but you have to be organized and you have to be prepared to have 5,000 items in stock, which is insane. So it's going to require a pretty heavy setup. You're going to need shelves. I do think, though, the 5,000 items can easily fit into a 1-car garage. I know because my 5,000 item rack fits in half of a 1-car garage. But I do have high ceilings. It's like maybe 8 feet. So you could fit 5,000 items in the half a garage. And that's going to be something that really helps. I just want people to understand how difficult it is to make a full-time living on eBay without any capital. It's going to take a long time to build up. I've basically cheated on this low-key Husky account because I have an Instagram and YouTube following, and people from social are buying stuff on my account, which is why I recommend all of you guys do that, because don't just watch me do it and then not take advantage of the amazing social networking leverage you can get from your fans. I'll tell you how to adjust things. Real quick, I don't know how many people are watching, but if you guys could hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed so far, please help me out. That really lets me know if I'm doing a good job or not. So Upstate Thrifter says, have I tried to work out the deals with the managers of Goodwill to buy racks? I have. Are you talking about shelving racks? I bought my shelving racks on eBay, and my link is below there, $55. That is an affiliate link. $55 for a rack is pretty cheap. If you're talking about buying pallets, I have done that also. But I'm thinking as I get more capital, I'm going to move away from that because I only need to sell a lot less stuff to get. You have to sell a lot less stuff to make the same amount of money once you have more capital to buy better things. So I'm only doing the Goodwill bins right now because I have to, because my capital constraints prevent me from spending all the money on the good stuff. Kathy asks where to find my spreadsheet. So I'm actually going to close my spreadsheet to people who are not in my Patreon page. So if you go to patreon.com/10K on the Bay in the description below, you can sign up. Even if it's $1 a month, I'll give you access to the spreadsheet, which I'm making right now. But if you want, I'll tell you what's on it for free, or you can watch this video and make your own. It's pretty easy. Basically, you just want to track how much inventory you have, like how much did you pay for it, how much are you selling it for. Those are 2 key things, and you can look at the difference. So if you spend $10,000 and you're selling it for $30,000, then you're right on the money with my my model, which is sell it for 3 times and try to double your money. So you buy it for 10, sell it for 30, try to get $10 profit. Or You're buying it for $1, listing it for like $1.50 or $2 or something, and trying to get $4, $5, $6 profit from it. Same thing on um, a smaller level. Shipping kind of makes it look really wonky, so that's why I like having my model plus shipping, because it's kind of like an unfair margin eater. Like if you sell something for 15 and you only make 5 or 4, people are like, oh, that's not a very good margin, but really most of that cost is in the shipping. Um, yeah, Ryan is right. He says the easiest way to say it is the more you list, well, the more you can sell. And it's not actually linear like that. That's why I reduced my sell-through rate to 20% on my big store, because the more you list doesn't necessarily mean the more you can make. Yeah, the Patreon page, Kathy. So I'm going to start inviting only those people onto the document and trying to provide support there. I'm also limiting my my mastermind group to only 50 people, and it's already almost full because I don't have time to help that many more people. So again, you can do it for free. Like if you really don't want to pay for it, that's fine. Just email me and I'll send you a link to it and you can do it yourself. The purpose of having the group is so that you can see how other people are doing it to get an idea, because you know, truth talk, people have asked, like, what am I getting out of this? Like, why even have a Patreon if I'm going to do eBay? Well, this is the reason why. One is I'm creating my own tribe. So I get people that I like in my group. It's invitation only, basically. If I don't like you, you're not going to be in my 50 people. And also, I get to see how 50 people operate their eBay business, which is priceless, right? I would pay probably $1,000 a month to get to meet 50 serious eBay sellers, because the knowledge I would get and the bolos and the interesting things that they do to maximize their profits are worth money. Like I'm taking eBay very seriously. So that's why, that's the end game. People are always asking me, like, what's the end game for me? It's not ad revenue. It's actually just making my eBay store awesome. And the way I'm going to do that is by looking at how other people make their store awesome and adding what I like into mine. Yeah, Debbie, thank you. I'm glad that you found this useful. Let's see. Yeah, Ryan's making a good point here. List well. And I actually think that listing well is really just the item. Like if you have a Lululemon sweater that's new with tags, you could just throw it on the dirt outside and take a picture. You're still going to sell it because Lululemon is hot, right? And their stores do a really good job of maintaining the retail price and not letting it degrade. So listing well is often just the item. It's not even the way that you list it. Thanks, Strummer. Let's see. Does anybody, let's see here. I'll put this in here. I just put the link in there. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on how to exactly make 52K, the reality is I don't think you can do it without $10,000 in inventory. It's too hard. Like you would have to be amazing. You have to be a buying savant. You have to be able to buy stuff so well that it's selling super fast. And then that being the case, it's also really taxing on your body and your mind and your brain to sell through 80, 90% of your stuff, which is what my low-key Husky store is selling, like above 75% of the stuff that I have sold. Just like this gentleman who's in the chat right now, who has sold 150 out of 200 listings. It's exhausting. Like you've got to go out there hunting, you got to bring it in. As soon as you list it, it's sold. Your time is spent a lot in just mentally hustling to get that going. Versus if you have an extra capital, you can just buy it. You don't need that high of a sell-through rate. Then you have a more peaceful existence because you're only selling 10% of your inventory instead of 75%, like this gentleman in the chat, and also my low-key Husky store. A 75% sell-through rate's insane. Like so much stuff is moving, and it's hard to scale because your time is so limited, especially if you have, like me, I have same-day shipping. So it's like I'm on the clock. I got to get stuff listed, shipped, and there's a higher quantity of items being shipped, which means there's less time for listing. Let's see. Someone's saying that, do you know that the pallets that I have been buying have been picked through? Definitely. I mean, if you go into the Goodwill, they're putting pallets together generally of things that have that are rejects, right? The majority of the Goodwill bins is rejects from Goodwill retail. If you have the money, don't do Goodwill bins. If you're just getting started, sure, that's a good way to start, but it's easier to buy something like an iPhone. It's easier to buy an iPhone for 100 and sell for 300 than it is to sell 20 Goodwill items, 1 versus 20. Upstate Thrifter is saying me buying pallets at the outlet is more feasible. It is with staff, maybe, if you had 4 people, but I was getting kind of sick of having, not sick, actually, I'm grateful that people would come to my house and help me with listing, but the average sale price is so low, like it was kind of artificially inflated. In my big store, the average item cost is $24, including shipping. That's really because I have stuff from when I was cherry picking in there. Just the Goodwill items, I bet you it's $15 to $18 is really the max on the max I'm making on a Goodwill item from the outlet is $15 to $18, and there's a lot of costs in there. There's the I got to go pick it up, right? I can only fit 1 pallet in my Prius, as you guys know. I have to sort it, and I'm doing a new sorting process where I have to look at stuff that's the more expensive versus least, and I'm not a clothing expert, right? I just started this in November. I've been following fashion for a while for fun, but like I'm not an expert. And especially most of the clothing on eBay that sells well, in my opinion, is women's clothing. And I actually don't know anything about women's clothing. I started selling some Anthropology, all those brands, Madewell, J. Crew. Like when my girlfriend goes shopping now, I'm going with her to see what she likes. Yeah, Ryan is right. If you're with a 75% sell-through rate, it's insane. And I'm having a hard time getting over 100 items even in my low-key Husky store because they're just selling so fast. So that sounds cool, but it's not really that cool because it's hard to scale without hiring employees. All right, Jay Shepard, thank you for stopping by. Oh, sorry, Sue. I did not. Let me. Hold on 1 second. I apologize for missing the meeting this morning, Sue. That is very unprofessional. Normally, I am on it with those things. Okay, let's see. Would you say that my Patreon members are experienced in giving advice or newer and needing my advice? I have a couple of Patreon members that do 25 grand a month. There's definitely Patreon members in my group that are larger than me, some huge. So it just depends on what they're trying to get out of it. They're trying to get ideas. To be honest, they're probably in there just stealing concepts from the other people. That's why I want it to be 50 people. There's going to be bigger people and smaller people. There are people who are full-time. I would say this. The majority of the people in my Patreon group have a full-time job. They are looking for hacks to make their life easier in their side hustle. There's very, very few full-time eBayers in my Patreon page. But again, there's very few of everything because there's not very many people in my Patreon group. It's literally only going to be 50 people. Let's see. I don't think that, okay, here's the thing with eBay, and something that I've learned with my Patreon group is that you can only make 1 or 2 changes a week. Like you can't change everything. You can't like have a whole new buying process, a whole new photography process, a whole new shipping process every week. It's impossible. You can only pick 1 or 2 things to work on that week and slowly improve. So it's actually not that much different being a 25 grand a month seller versus a $250 a month seller. It's the same because you can only change 1 or 2 things a week. So it's not even an advice thing because when you talk about your problem, usually the answer is already in your question. So if you're like, I'm not selling very many items, and then I think it's because I don't have very many items, and then we look at your store and there's only 30 things in it, that's probably why you're not selling very many. Or I don't think I'm making a lot of profit, and then we look at your numbers and you're selling stuff for $10 free shipping. You know, the answer is already in the question usually, and it's not like an advice group. It's more of a accountability. What do you choose for spreadsheet that you create on my site? Oh, my spreadsheet is on Google Docs. So I recommend using Excel if you guys know how to use it. I prefer Google Sheets because it's live. I'm only using it also because it's collaborative. So like I'm sharing it with my accountant. He can go in there and make changes or tell me that I'm not doing things right. Let's see. Does anybody have any more questions? But yeah, I just don't want you guys to get discouraged with, I don't want you to get discouraged with how difficult it is to make eBay work. And I think it's a good thing because if you don't have $10,000 in systems, you're not going to make a full-time income. That's the reality. The bottom line is you will not make a full-time income if you don't have 10 grand, unless if you're a very, very talented buyer, you could do it because then you have a very high sell-through rate. But if you're just an average person, you can't do it because you don't have enough inventory to compensate for your lack of buying ability. What do I search for to see my method? I'm not sure. Send me an email, Kathy, at 10konthebay@gmail.com, and we'll check it out. Yeah, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please hit it. But again, my basic theory is that you need 10 grand of inventory. So like, that would be the easiest way to do it. And again, what you pay for the inventory is also how skilled you are, right? I think that you could actually get most of your items for free. If I went door to door and said, hey, I'm starting an eBay store. Do you have any items that you would donate or want to get rid of? If you did that for 8 hours a day, you would have the same amount of items as looking through Goodwill. Because there's a lot of items that people haven't donated just because they're too lazy to even drive to Goodwill, especially in a nicer neighborhood. So it depends on how creative you are. You get all your inventory for free just by scanning Craigslist in the free section. Like you don't need to pay for inventory. So then it just becomes a process of listing it, shipping it, organizing it, sorting it. Cheap inventory is usually not the problem. It's the listing part and the sell-through rate. Do I still want to sell my eBay store once I get to a certain level? So I want a sellable eBay business. I don't necessarily want to sell it. I'm just building it so that one day someone could look at it and be like, okay, I think it's worth X multiple of your profit. At the very least, it should be worth 1x profit. So if my eBay business makes 100 grand net profit at the end of the year, I definitely think I could sell it for the same amount. The 1 year profit would be a very low multiplier of just one on a business. But if I was buying an eBay business, I would want to know where you're getting your supply. I would want to know what your listing and shipping policies look like, what your processes look like. Do you have a handbook? Like if you leave, does the business still work is the main question. Yeah, I mean, if you guys get mail right now, don't you see the stuff from like Goodwill and Salvation Army, the mail that they send out? I mean, they do direct mail. You're gonna get something that says, please leave your stuff on the curb for whatever. But the thing is, they're usually nonprofit, right? And they have budgets for advertising. If you're for profit, don't lie to people. If you're gonna go and say like, okay, I'm for profit, I'm trying to start my eBay store. Do you guys have items that you're not using or you could donate to me? Be upfront about it. Don't lie. Like when I write the check to Oakland's Children's Hospital for these charity auctions on my eBay, you guys are gonna see the amount of money that goes in there. And also it's automatic, like it's on the eBay listing, the charity. So let's see. All right, guys, I am going to go. Let's see, how do I close this? But yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to end this video. If you guys have any questions, please email me, 10konthebay@gmail.com. And yeah, also last point with Steven, you definitely let people know that you're doing free hauling or free cleanup, and they'll give you free stuff. If you need free inventory, you could do eBay with no money. It's just gonna take a little bit more upfront to do it. I'm just saying there are people that are saying, I'm doing it for charity and getting items for free when they're really not. I'm just saying don't advertise yourself like that because karma is a bitch. Don't be like that. All right, guys, have a good one.